Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Supporting Yah's Cornerstone. My name is Heshra'a, and that name means moved by Yah. Today is a get to know me video, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about my parents' divorce. And this time I'm going to talk a little bit about my Abbas, or the Hebrew word for father, my father's remarriage, and how that kind of went when I was growing up. So, I think I said and mentioned in a previous Get to Know Me video that my parents divorced when I was 2 years old. I think my mother was 18 when they got married, and my Abba was a few years older than her, I think. But they divorced when I was 2 years old, and I have no memories or recollection of us ever living together or of them being married, living in the same house. I have no memories of it at all. So if I look down sometime, I'm looking at my notes, so just excuse me. So my mom mentioned once that the last day of my father being in the same house with us, she had stood in the snow for a while, I believe. And for some odd reason, I do remember that particular day. And I remember having a little red coat on. I don't remember at the time knowing what was happening. I don't think I did know. So I don't remember any feelings of sadness or anything. I don't have any recollection of knowing what was happening. But for some odd reason, I do have the memory of standing there with my mother in that particular yard, standing in the snow and not knowing why. So I do remember that for some reason from when I was 2 years old. My father remarried in less than a year, I think. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like less than a year that he remarried, and he stayed married to that woman, I want to say about at least 10 years. So from the time I was about the ages of 2 or 3, and for years after that, I would go visit him with his new family. That always went really well. My father, I think, believed in girls being with the women. He was not living according to the Hebrew Israelite lifestyle at the time. So I think that might be important to mention too. He didn't come into the knowledge of being a Hebrew Israelite till, I think, years after he and my mother divorced. So at this time, particular time I'm speaking of, he wasn't living the Hebrew Israelite lifestyle. So when I would go visit them, most of the time I was left with my stepmom, and that's who I spent time with. So what was it like with my visiting and being with my stepmother all the time? It was absolutely great. She never mistreated me ever. In my father's presence or outside my father's presence. Most of the time, I don't remember my father being there. I didn't ever ask where he was or anything. I was just always left with my stepmom and with my I guess my brothers if they were at home. They didn't have all my brothers at the time, but she went on to have 3 sons by my father. But in the beginning, I just remember me and her. because they got married, like I said, not too long after, within maybe a year, maybe it was a little more after my parents divorced. But that's what it seemed like, I think. So, but she was always nice to me, always kind to me. Um, she sold, so I think I remember she sold some of my clothes. Um, there were no problems there, um, just at all. And like I said, excuse the train going by. We live near. There's a railway not too far away, but um, there were never any issues that I remember, and I was never treated funny. She never said anything to me uh, out of the way. I never, even up until this day, have heard her speak any ill word about my mother or anything like that. Um, as a matter of fact, at one point, she would babysit my brothers too. So, because my mom went on to have three sons in other relationships, and in another relationship, I mean, and she would keep all three of us. My stepmom would. And so I know sometimes now in the movies here in this society in America and here, stepmoms are always portrayed as being wicked and evil and like that. But um, I always think that's kind of sad because every stepmother, or as I've heard them called now, bonus moms, every stepmom or bonus mom is not a wicked, evil person that's going to mistreat the man's children. Every woman is not like that. And I think that, I hope that in the future, that we more and more separate titles from issues people have in their character. That just because certain people sometimes have issues in their character as a person, that we don't make the title they hold, make the title itself wicked, because that's not always the case. Um, my stepmom, like I said before, she was great to me. I had a lot of good times with her. I remember my one of the movies we used to watch together, which may seem weird, was Shaka Zulu. And I remember I used to love to watch Shaka Zulu. But that's who I used to watch it with, my stepmom. And I remember we used to listen to music sometimes, and the song I remember the most us listening to a lot was "Say a Little Prayer for Me," "Saying a Little Prayer for You" by Aretha Franklin. And for some reason, I remember that because we used to listen to music sometimes. And sorry, I had made my camera shake. But the one negative experience that I had years later, that really didn't have a lot to do with her. That had to do with me. But years later, I want to say maybe I was about 12 and a half, 13. I had been getting in trouble at my mom's house or causing issues. So I was sent to live with them. And I got in trouble. So I ended up after a while having to be, she called my mom to come pick me up. So she basically kicked me out. But that was my fault. So, all my fault. So, yeah, because I continued to do things I shouldn't at that point. Even when I lived with them, which I didn't stay with them but a short period of time. And I was just getting in too much trouble too fast. And so, but outside of that, which was my fault, I had a great experience with my stepmother. Um, I still talk to her off and on to this day. Her and my father did divorce. I want to say their marriage lasted maybe 10 years, I think. I think it could have been a little less than that, I think. But even after the divorce, um, We lost communication for a long time after a while because she moved to another place. But we got a chance to speak years later, and uh, everything is about the same. So, so my experience with my father's new family after he divorced my mom was fine. It was good. So, and when he started living the Hebrew Israelite lifestyle, which he learned of that knowledge before him and my stepmom divorced. At one point, he had two other wives. So at one point, when I was little, my father had my stepmom and then two other wives, and I was around them sometimes, and that went fine too. None of those women, if they ever argued, if there were ever any issues, I was not included in that. The children did not have to deal with any of that. If any arguments, anything took place, nothing was ever said bad about my mother. I never heard any of the women bad mouthing each other or anything like that at all. At all. So I can honestly say that. So not only was my experience with my stepmom good, but even after he started practicing this way of life and married two other women and was practicing polygamy, my experience still was fine. I still was treated fine. Most of the time, my stepmother, when I was there, was my main caregiver. I do remember going to visit another one of his wives and her daughter, because she had a daughter already, and I remember me and her spending time together. But for the most part, my major care when I was there was my stepmom, and so, but there were never any issues there either. So, like I said before, I just hope that in the future that we separate character flaws people have and issues that they don't handle well. We separate from the titles they hold. So it wouldn't be that all stepmothers are wicked and evil. It would be that you have some women who have issues that don't perform well as stepmothers. Okay. So that's, I hope that more and more people gain that thought. And when I heard the word bonus mom being used instead of stepmother, I thought that was kind of neat and maybe a better word. But that's my quick story about that. If you want to hear more about my life, which I will be talking about in get to know me videos, then just stay tuned for more get to know me videos, and I'll be sharing more. This channel is meant to be a channel of testimony as well as a channel of helping share with you things I've learned over the years, you know, things I've learned from my mistakes and things I've learned from my success living the Hebrew Israelite lifestyle. And in the sense, a channel of testimony by sharing my past before I decided to live for y'all too. And also sharing my background. Because no matter what background you come from, when you come into Yah, He can create a whole new reality for you. You just have to be willing to put the work in. You know, He's willing to help you, but we also have to be willing to put the work in. But your background doesn't matter. And so I hope by telling my past before y'all from, that can be a testimony to that it doesn't matter what your background was, that Yah has the ability to teach you and to add to your life. And so thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and you can contact me at yazcornerstone@gmail.com. That's yazcornerstone@gmail.com. You're welcome to follow me on Instagram. It's called Supporting Yaz Cornerstone on Instagram. And you're welcome to follow me there. Also, if you want to know exactly when I upload a video and it's published, then just remember to click the notification bell. But thank you for your time. Shalom, shalom.